down to who breaks 2 hours for the first time.
Yep. I know Punk had like a 3-hour PB and he got 205 or something his first race, and then Alowne had never actually done a run we had knowledge of. So he got also like a 205, so they're pretty similar skill level. It's gonna be a good race.
Yeah, now Alowne has also been doing some any percent runs lately, so very similar run, just goes a little further in the game.
Yeah, that's the nice thing about the Magus category. All of the 3 main categories, any percent, no LSS, and 100% are basically the same up to Magus, with like maybe like a couple seconds difference in the route. That's about it.
Yeah, so this is fundamentally an any percent route. They will be using glitches, of course. They'll be skipping enemies as they're able to. And really that's one of the most important aspects of the run, is how well you're able to skip those not random encounters. They're always placed, but anytime you miss one of those, you're losing a bunch of time.
Yep. We just saw basically the first part of the run, which is the first menu. First menu is pretty simple. You want to switch your battle speed to 1. That'll basically the battles go faster. We'll explain it once we see a battle. We also switch our battle cursor to memory. That lets us attack with X, and it also will remember our last tech. It's also really important. And then use a Punk switch his controls around. Basically, there's a skip that happens like 30 minutes into the run where we need to have our controllers swapped in order for not to trigger a battle. So you can do that at the start, you can do it before the fight, but it takes some time if you play with the control swap from the start. By some time, I mean like 2 seconds, so yeah.
Also, there's the classic Squaresoft rename, because it draws the names, so you have just one character, and the names are that much faster to go up on the screen.
Yep, so we just got Morrow, and basically all we need to do is talk to this merchant and then basically run to the next cutscene.
The classic fair sequence, you've got to go to the teleporter where nothing could possibly go wrong.
Mm-hmm. So I'm getting word in the chat that Alowne actually put his dash on L. That's actually not really common, but a couple of runners, Chrono Trigger, do it, mainly Red Slash, who has world record for basically all the categories.
Well, you know, if you're going to copy strats from somebody, that's not a bad choice.
Yep. I completely agree. So here, we don't actually have to join the teleport, we can just talk to Morrow. It saves like 15-20 seconds. But yeah, the start of the run is pretty calm. You get like a 5-minute basically cutscene, then a couple of skips, and then some more cutscenes. I think it's pretty nice. It's not too cutscene heavy because it has some actually technical stuff, like the beginning menu. Then we'll talk about bird skip in the first fight. It's actually pretty nice.
Yeah, so it takes us a bit to get to that first battle finally. Of course, you could stop in the woods and do one if you wanted to, but this is a speed run. We'd want to take unnecessary battles.
Yeah, actually, just for reference, we're only gonna do 2 extra battles in this whole run. So the rest of the battles that we do are actually unskippable. So yeah, there's only 2 extra grinding battles in an RPG run. So that shows how optimized this is.
So these are 2 of the runners that help give us a real international flavor to the tournament. If you want to root for countries, we have Alowne from Brazil, and we have Ponk from Germany.
Germany versus Brazil. I wonder how this will end.
Well, you say it like that, it starts to sound like a soccer match, doesn't it?
Yeah.
If a riot breaks out in chat, then we're all set.
Hoping it doesn't.
Alright, so we're waiting on the Luca and her dad to get the teleporter working again.
Cool, so they're both going to go into this first battle. Basically, the way battles work in this case is you want to let this little bar called the action bar fill itself up. After it fills up, you get the chance to do your attack, your text, or your items. And basically for this first fight, they want to actually kill the 3 imps without getting hit. It's actually kind of tight inputs, but this runner should have no problem getting that.
And they give you a nice easy one, figuring this was going to be the first battle that you took in the game. You're not going to lose this fight no matter what you do. Well, I guess you could just stand there and eventually lose it, but
And
that's not necessarily the fastest way to go.
yeah, I think I jinxed both of them, so I'm sorry. Both of them got hit. Again, commentary curse is real. Now Punk's screen is he's gonna go for the bird skip. Basically, there's 2 pixels in the bridge where you can stand, and then if you run up, you can skip that bird battle. That saves quite a bit of time.
And
Alowne
grab
gets
Power
it as
Glove,
well.
a really important item.
Yeah, the power glove is great. Basically, you know the name says it. Power, it gives you +1 power at the start.
Both our
sorry,
runners
guys.
getting the bird skip. Nice and easy.
Not even 6 minutes into the run, and I already cursed them once. I did this the past race as well. I'm sorry, guys.
That's not a very good pace. That's a lot of cursing over the course of a run.
It's not on purpose, I swear. So yeah, it'll be nice to see how both of these runners adapt.
So phase 2 of the not quite a cut scene, but a lot of menuing.
Yep. Just
Getting
running
through
around.
the
Basically need to go upstairs, talk to Marl, and then you have actually like a couple of minutes more of cutscenes. I guess we can talk a little bit more about a big part of this game, which is RNG manipulation. I was talking about how they didn't want to get hit at the start of the first fight. That's because they want to actually have their RNG set to a certain value. And the way to do it in this fight is to not get hit. So if they get hit, they have to basically try different strats in order to try to adapt for the Nagite fight, which is coming up later.
Yeah, we're not far away from that, but short a party member to be able to do that. And we still have to get through the highly accurate biology lesson.
Definitely extremely accurate.
Let's talk a moment about the actual format of the tournament. Both these runners have already suffered a loss, so they're in the second chance brackets and looking to advance and continue on. And the winner will face the winner of Tsunami or Kaioseka after they have their match. If you're seeing this and thinking, oh, this is great, I love Chrono Trigger, I want to see even more, well, you're in luck because there's another race today at 5 o'clock between Background Guy 02 and lunchtime.
Yep, that round will be a winners round 2 match, if I'm not mistaken. So it's gonna be a good match, just like any of the match of the Chrono Trigger tournament. I'm really excited. It took us 2 years actually to put on this. This is the second edition. The first edition happened really early 2016. So over 2 years in order to actually do another one. So thanks to everybody, and Speed Gaming, for helping restream this. It's a great help.
Speed Gaming's always been a great partner to so many of these tournaments. We do thank him for that. No Name was our setup guy today, and we greatly appreciate your efforts.
So Punk is gonna go to the basically one of the we have to do 2 battles in the forest. These battles can actually be skipped, but we need to do them because we want to get fire for the fire flame toss and fire wheel for the Nagite fight. So these 2 battles we're gonna do here are the only 2 battles we're gonna grind in the whole run. So enjoy the grinding.
So just in case anybody's not familiar, the idea of Chrono Trigger is as you win battles, you get tech points and they unlock further techs. So to do the next dungeon, we want 2 specific techs, one for Luca, one for Chrono. And then they get a United tech.
Yep.
Side benefit.
Yeah, it's one of the cool things about this game. You get the dual text as they're called, which is basically a combination of character text, and they're pretty cool. Really innovative for 1995 when this game first came out.
Paul picked up the shelter there and then goes down to this fight. Has the benefit of there being a tab down here as well.
Yeah, I've seen quite a few people pick up the shelter. I'm not sure what the reason is, but it's not out of the way, so it's not a bad pickup. You actually do need one though, so you can skip the one in the castle later on after Dragon Tank if you get that one.
It gets the power tab.
Nice movement from Punk to get both characters into position. And yeah, this is the infamous Nugget fight we're talking about. This girls actually have a slow spell. Yep, there we go. And that slow spells slows down your characters, so you actually don't want to get too many of those. Since they're both off RNG, they're actually gonna be, yeah. Alowne got a slow spell as well, so they just need to pray that they don't get too many of those.
And one Fire Whirl takes down the Nuggets one shot, so hitting as many of them as possible is kind of important.
It looks like, yeah, only one slow spell for both. That's really good. Each slow spell loses about 6 seconds, so if you get unlucky and all 4 do slow spells, there's certain RNGs that gives you that. You can lose like 24, 25 seconds just because of that. And yeah, the slow spell on Alowne actually missed. I don't think I've ever seen that before.
Well, hey, that's the fun of doing a tournament. You'll always see something you've never seen before.
Mm-hmm. That's what I enjoy. I also enjoy stealing people's strats. Okay, and now we get Frog for a couple minutes before disappears into, and we won't see him again until basically Magus Castle. Use him again, I should say. Punk's gonna get the revive here.
This cathedral does a great job of kind of introducing you to the game, and it gives you the visible enemies to get used to the idea of, hey, you can go around them if you walk the right way. Later on, they start to become a little less visible.
Yep.
And Alowne picked up the Diablo fight. That was not intentional. At least I don't think it was.
Yeah, it isn't. He's actually doing the menu trick. Basically, if you hold L and R and open the menu, you can run away from fights. Basically, the way running away works is you feel a little bar that's invisible, similar to the action bar from our characters. And it actually fills up during the menu, so it's actually really nice.
That's going to be a little bit of a time loss there. Punk heading up to the organ room.
In this fight, since they're both off RNG, they're gonna just try and hope Frog actually gets a crit. So basically, you wanna if you were on the correct RNG, you would get 2 criticals on the Diablos, and Punk actually got one. Nice. So we'll see if he gets next one.
The henches can be annoying if you're just trying to melee them, but you use the tech on them and they go bye-bye.
Yep. One of the great reasons we actually get magic for. Not only the Nagads, but this guys as well. Okay, pretty good there for Alowne. He actually got the crit as well on the left one. Let's see if he gets it on the right guy and saves some little bit of time with Punk. Yep, double crit for him. And now we're gonna see the first glitches in the game. basically what Punk's gonna do is he's gonna go through the door, but he's gonna cancel it with the menu. Like he's just gonna delay the door transition from appearing, and he's gonna stand on top of the save point. And what that's gonna do is it's gonna give us something called the save anywhere glitch that lets us save anywhere. And while he's in this menu, he's gonna do the unequip glitch, which basically lets us take our clothes of our characters and gives them more magic defense and more magic offense as well.
And then, of course, we're all set for this epic showdown with this fierce boss. However, will we survive?
Yep. And then with the save anywhere glitch, we can save past the boss trigger, and Punk's just moving weirdly, but he's just canceling the text. And then what actually kills the boss is we can move him in the boss fight, and if we have him off screen when he starts, then he just dies. Because the game thinks, hey, the boss is off screen, you know. They must already have dealt with him.
To answer a question in chat about the RNGs being crit-based, you have to remember, the older the game, the more RNG has to be put in quotation marks. It was designed to where if you're playing casually, you'd never notice any kind of pattern. But when you start having speedrunners break a game wide open, then RNG starts to become something you can manipulate. So casually you'd never appreciate it, but when speedrunners look for stuff like that, they tend to find it.
Yeah, it's actually really nice the way it's actually laid down in this game, because now that it's all... I don't want to say solved, because we keep finding faster boss fights and stuff with better RNG patterns, but you know, it's really nice that it basically turns into an execution test instead of, hey, you know, this boss gave me 2 bad patterns instead of the good ones, so that's why I lost. Now it comes down to, oh, hey, my opponent played better than me, that's why I lost. It's pretty nice. That's one of the main things I like about this game. Not too much RNG that we can't control.
So both runners still at very close pace to each other. Alowne did lose a little bit of time on that Diablo encounter, but now they both have to go for frog skip.
Frog skip is obviously the hardest skip in the game. Let's see Punk if he nails it. Like a master.
First try.
If you happen to talk to Frog, then you lose like 30 seconds, but you also lose your dignity, so...
Ooh, picked up the birds.
Yep. That's actually a common mistake, that like the fight triggers really close to where you actually walk by.
Right,
so now
Alowne also aces the frog skip, and now they're way out of the forest.
Yep. Punk still has the save anywhere glitch he got for Yakra, so he's gonna basically save in that right now. He's gonna do what we call reverse bird skip. So he's gonna skip the fight on the way back. For whatever reason, if we save and reload past the stairs, the game actually triggers a fight from, like, if we were coming from the other side, not the imp and the rolly fight, so we can actually skip it. We have 4 pixels to actually hit the correct window, and Alowne gets it as well. Pretty nice from both.
So at this point, they've both had the extra encounter pickup. Punk got off to a little bit faster start just with the very, very earliest moments of the game, and that seems to have held pretty consistently so far.
Yeah. He's probably around 20 seconds ahead. This game, if anybody has seen a race of this game, things can change so fast. So fast. This game is really unpredictable at times, just because basically one mistake gets you off RNG and can make you lose like 20-30 seconds, depending on where you actually lose it. And the make or break point in this tournament has been Massa, which if you lose your RNG on Massa, can be and like actually, 4 or 5 minute lots at least.
So
20 seconds mean nothing early game.
Next major event is just take the princess home. Nothing can possibly go wrong with that.
Yeah, I think we're done with the game, right? Just take her home.
Yeah.
GG.
Been a fun little time. Maybe go back to the fair. Chancellor's going to be so happy to see us. He'll be nice and friendly.
Mm-hmm. And he just called us a terrorist. I guess this is not going as expected.
Well, but they'll listen to the princess tell the truth, right?
I expect to. Okay, no. So this is the second intro, as I call it, the trial, where we basically get judged for kidnapping the princess, and there's nothing we can do here except mashing, but there's actually a couple questions that we answer a certain way, and that basically splits the jury 3 guilty, 3 not guilty, and jury number 2 is actually decided by the frame we close a cutscene coming up. If we get guilty, we save 5-6 seconds. If we get not guilty, we don't save that time. It's actually around like 53% for not guilty, 47% for guilty, so we'll see if they actually save some time here.
Yeah, the preference is to get the guilty verdict. It's just not worth it to actually pursue the guilty verdict too actively. Because you could easily do something that would flip a juror, but it would cost more time than you save.
Yeah. Yeah, you can actually get them all guilty if you do more things in the fair, but that would essentially lose more time. So this is the fastest we can do, and then we just leave this juror to RNG.
Also, depending on how you answer these questions, if you never played around with it, some of them will actually trigger cutscenes where somebody will come in as a witness and testify against you. Similar to if you eat the old man's lunch.
Well, since we got spoiled by our friend Punk in chat, we can see right now that he's actually guilty. So Punk is saving those 6 seconds. And the reason it saves time is a couple of text boxes later on don't show up. If you get not guilty, you actually get an ether, but we don't need that ether.
So now if it were cookies, we would need them. Even if they took extra time.
Mm-hmm. So right now we're heading into the prison. The prison is a really technical section. There's a lot of minor things, but I want to talk a little bit more about how RNG works in this game. Basically, when they did the reverse bird skip, they actually waited for a certain period of time on the title screen to actually load on a certain RNG seed. The way this game works is depending on how much you spend on the title screen, when you enter the game, you load a certain seed. So in this case, they wanted to load a seed between 0.4 and 0.7 seconds. That gives them a certain RNG that will help them for the Dragon Tank fight. So they have to be really careful during the prison not to get into any extra encounters and do it as effective, because if they don't, then the backup Dragon Tank fight is actually probably 30 seconds slower, and then you lose time coming up because the RNG seed progresses with you as you enter battles, as you do the battles. So if you lose it right now, you're gonna have bad RNG all the way through the future.
So the time difference will now start to set in. Alowne will be a little bit slower through this section because of the not guilty verdict. And then we come up to having to navigate the guards, walk a tightrope through a couple of encounters, no big deal. And then we get our first major boss fight of this run.
Mm-hmm. The dragon. Punk is gonna take a backup save. Good. It's a tournament after all. So basically, Punk, as I mentioned, did the certain reload on the reverse bird skip. If he got that reload, he's gonna see a 60 damage hit on the first card, on this first card he fights. If he doesn't see a 60, that means he's off RNG, and he might just opt to reset and try again. Because being on RNG is just that much faster.
One guard down. We didn't even get a mid tonic from him.
57, yeah, he's gonna try going for it again. That means his reload was not between 0.4 and 0.7 seconds. So he wouldn't have gotten the optimal dragon tank fight we actually want. Yeah, this is the best person in the game, you know. They let you keep your weapons, they let you keep your tonics, they let you keep everything.
I mean, at least their guards are actually armed. And they gave you
Yep.
2 of them. All right, so Alowne got to 60. He's actually now pulled ahead because he got the was on the right RNG.
Yep. Then we have the shields. Yep, you can just run in between them. Then we have this fade out, which is actually the longest fade out in this run. Basically, there's a battle in the middle of the bridge. We actually need to skip it. I believe actually doing the battle is faster than doing the fade out, but in order for us to keep our RNG and actually beat Dragon Tank really fast, we need to actually skip it.
Yeah, you'd be caught in the middle, so it's not like you could do the Cyclone and take both of them out at once, or that might make it a completely different scenario.
Yeah,
because it would be. And now, don't get spotted.
Yeah, in this case, I like what Punk did. You wait until he turns right for the first one, and then that's less likely for him to catch you. For the second one, what I usually wait is for him to turn to you, and as soon as he turns to the other side, just like Punk did, that's the best option.
Man, that section worked out really well for Punk now. If you're
Alowne.
It's starting to sound like a horse race, they're trading back and forth. Head by nose.
It's actually really close. They're doing another fade out here. Basically, as we mentioned before, you trigger the loading zone and then you buffer it. In certain parts of the game doesn't expect you to be there twice, because the second time it's like, oh, okay, you already beat the fight, so the fight just disappears. So in some occasions we'll be using the save anywhere glitch, where we combine it with a save point, but in other occasions we'll just be using it by himself.
Punk gets the mid tonic. Do either of the runners save before going to the dragon tank? No, they're just gonna go for it.
I don't think so. Yeah, the Dragon Tank fight, the script for the Dragon Tank fight is not too hard. Usually the way you do this fight in casual game, you know, actually the texture breed tells you not to be foolish enough to try to kill the head first. And it's actually foolish because it usually out-heals you really quickly. But because we have our RNG manipulation active, we're gonna actually be able to get a lot of crits in the head and actually out-damage it before it heals itself too much.
The head itself has 600 hit points. That's the major part of this fight.
Yep. So yeah, I mean this is 3 attacks, sorry, and we already saw 2 crits. And we're gonna see one coming up from Luca. And then what a lot of people don't know is if you use a Cyclone on the head, it actually heals. It counters with a heal. So Cyclones are not usually worth it in this fight. But we're actually gonna use one in this case, because this one is actually gonna kill the head.
Yeah, as long as the damage equation works out, everything is fine.
Yep. Now there's a little trick there. I have an Alowne screen and Punk did it as well. If you wait on Luca's menu, after the damage disappears from her, you actually get to skip one Dragon Tank attack. It's just really weird how it works. Otabina found it out. Really nice 4-second time save, just by being in the menu.
And then the dual tech to finish it all off. They couldn't hardly be any more synchronized if they tried.
Yep. This is a 1 to 2 second time difference right now. Yep, 2 seconds, wow. That was a pretty good section. Compared to the first section, this time they both stayed on RNG there throughout the prison. And their Punk saved a little bit more time because he already had a shelter from the forest, but not too big.
Alowne got the guard skip. Doesn't really help, but got it. It's swag.
Alowne actually skipped the guard text box there. You can actually run really close to them and they don't see you for whatever reason, even though they're right beside you. Saves around 5 seconds. It seems something about this tournament. A lot of races have been synced up at this point. We're getting some pretty close ones.
Absolutely. So now we have to go through a bunch more text. Here we are about the quarter mark. Things have gone pretty well for the runners so far. Even with the reload for Ponk, I have to imagine you'd feel pretty reasonable about that. You got it on the second time. Other than that, it's been a pretty smooth run. Did get the extra bird fight. Alowne got the extra Diablo fight back at the cathedral, so that's pretty even.
Yep. Alowne has a little bit of a lead now. Now they're going to the future. The future is this pretty tricky area speedrun-wise. It's actually the area I hate the most because it's really, really technical and really easy to make mistakes. But if you do it perfectly, it just feels really rewarding to get out of there like less than 20 minutes.
So in particular, we have two major, well, I guess 3 major events here, depending on how you want to count them. But it starts by getting across lap 16. And these rats are jerks.
Yeah. They're jerks, but they actually help us because having their text box open lets us run through battle triggers. So we actually want to get stolen. Not as much as Alowne has been stolen, but oh, he actually got stolen before, so he's gonna have to take the path below. Yep. And Punk takes the
pick up equipment on here that's pretty important with the load bow, load sword, and berserker.
Yep. Berserker being the best item in the game. Are you getting to the Iris Zone? Here's where you have the Guardian fight, which you're not actually gonna see in this run.
If all goes well. Well, they'd reload it. All didn't go well anyways, but
yeah.
Also, fun fact, when they were redoing the controllers, this is one of the places where that's very important.
Yeah, if the game basically checks for the X press. If you actually press X to open the menu, it triggers a fight. But it doesn't check if you remap it to A or B or whatever you want to, so we can just swap that and do the fade out.
So aside from the Guardian, you can get an extra fight in this room, so that's what they're doing.
And then just by fading out, reaching the end, the game takes us out of the room as we trigger the fight and that. Next time we go in, it's like, hey, I mean, second time here, you already have to beat the boss, so hey, there's no boss.
So, I mean, just really synchronized close match between these two so far. The biggest difference between them was about 2 to 4 seconds on Yakura.
Yep.
And now, of course, we have to catch the rat, because knowing the password isn't enough. The rat has to actually tell us the password.
Yeah.
Alowne didn't get it the first try, gets it the second try. So that shouldn't cost any time.
You input the password right there.
Also, one of the things I found I have to be careful of is not talking to the rat twice.
Oh yeah.
Because he's right there. If you're mashing the button, you'll get him a second time, and you don't want that.
Mm-hmm. Happens quite a bit. Now this room is really weird because there's a pretty large cutscene, but with a fade-out glitch we can actually trigger it and skip only the first part of it though. You have to go in and actually watch the next part. And this is some pretty good sync right now.
Yeah, you're not watching the same streamer on both sides of the screen. These are in fact two different runners. But still a lot of race to go.
Oh yeah,
Well,
quite a bit.
We'll be about entering Magus in an hour. If all goes well.
Yeah, around that more or less. Yeah.
Question in chat, the race stops at Magus Tower. No, it stops when they actually defeat Magus. They have to get past him. So, gotta get the old victory there. Which I guess is still technically in his castle. So, if that's what you meant, then yes. But it's not just getting there.
Yeah, we have to beat Flea / get through the castle and beat Magus. That's the hardest part of the run, basically, all the castle.
Although if you were to pick a random place to end a run in this game, cutting open a mountain would be a pretty cool place to do one.
Yeah.
Alright, so first major event of the future is done for us. Second, we have to complete the race. Which is surprisingly easy to do in boost mode.
Yeah. Johnny Race. You know, there's a saying. It's not really a saying, I just made it up, but you're not a real Chrono Trigger runner until you've lost a Johnny Race in a run. It actually happens, believe us. I think every runner has lost it on an actual attempt at least once. We used to have a world record with a lost Johnny Race, so yeah, it happens.
If that does happen, then they'll just walk across rather than race it again.
Yep.
But basically all you have to do is get your rest, or whatever we're calling that, down to 40 or less and hit boost, and as long as you're not behind Johnny, you're gonna win.
Yep. So usually you want to try and bunk in front of him to actually get a little bit more speed. Both of them are playing it safe, but it's actually faster to do what Bunk is doing. Because if you actually have less WP, you actually finish the race slower. So between a normal race, which is at 1,500 points, and the worst race, which is what Alowne's doing,
there's the boost.
There's like a 6-second difference. So you can see Alowne's taking a little bit longer than Punk there. Yeah, boost at the end.
Boost. Making it look easy. Well, they just got robots dropping out of the ceiling in this place.
So apparently Punk got off RNG somewhere we didn't notice. Okay. Yeah, he got off RNG somewhere, so he's getting hit at 1 extra time than usual. So you're gonna see Alowne take back the lead right now. This race is just going back and forth. In this part you don't want to run. If you run, you trigger, well, you wake up those robots. We swear you're watching different runners. This is not the same stream twice.
Yeah, so far the timers between them has been the biggest indication you're watching different people. Alright, so first of all, you got to admire that when they're making this game, they actually came up with a plausible reason why you'd only have 3 people instead of all 4. So one person has to stay behind to open the door.
Yep. In this case, we're taking Luca with it. We're leaving Marl behind.
It works out better with the dual tech. Hey Chad, in your first run, what did you name Robo? See if we can get some interesting answers to that question. Not just speedrun runs, but just casually, what'd you name him the first time?
The first time I did it, I named him Robot. Just added the T at the end.
Go with Chrome.
Robo. We got a pretty original chat around.
Cake, I think that's the most original answer so far.
Gam for Punk. Hobo.
Alright, we make our way to the factory now. And, home to one of the nastiest early game enemies there is.
Rick Gasly, we're reading in the chat.
Alowne actually did the shelter in a different place than Ponk did, so as a result, full health here, but Ponk is not.
Yeah, I think Punk sheltered because before the bugger fight because he realized he wasn't on RNG, and then if he got hit, he might actually have taken the death. Usually, you actually don't want to shelter where Alowne did. You want to shelter right here in this save point, just because you have to. I mean, you don't have to, right? But you combine it with a save. It's actually a little bit faster just to many ones there instead of doing it in the overworld. If you weren't going to save, then yeah, you should do it outside. But in a tournament race, if you're gonna save, just do both inside.
Well, that's your favorite way to encounter these guys, when you can run away from them. But their counterattack, which we may see come into play later, gets really unpleasant.
So they're coming up in this fight, which is called the 5 acid alkaline fight. There's 5 of those acid or alkalines, so basically orange and greens, and they drop randomly. Each one dropped, like, there's 60 different patterns in 1 second, so it's basically, well, it's really hard to manipulate. You actually can do it. We want to get 5 greens. So Alowne has 3 greens, Punk has 4 greens. This is a really good pattern for Punk over Alowne.
Only the one to get rid of.
That cyclone for Alowne actually worked really, really well. He does rocket punch on the top guy. Oh, okay.
Where you can get into trouble is if they're too close to each other. When you hit one, they'll trigger a AoE counterattack, which is really unfortunate.
Yeah.
We might see it there. We will on Alowne's side. So you don't want to take too many of those.
Yeah. And the green ones have less defense, so they go down faster. But if they're close to an orange one, they counterattack, so right now what Alowne wants to do is just hold X really. He shouldn't be really waiting for the cycle. But yeah, Punk got 4 greens, so that almost always makes for a faster fight than 3 greens. Hopefully Alowne doesn't get too unlucky here. Okay, he got a 3 there.
Then the classic XABY password, which as long as you know it, you don't have to go to the other side of the factory.
Yep.
That
funny thing
felt
is,
like it was about a 15-second loss in that fight for Alowne. Just
yeah,
a little worse setup there.
Yep. Just mostly to RNG. There's a way to manipulate it, but it's actually pretty complicated. For this password, you can actually just hold down all the buttons and it'll open. Don't have to open. Don't have to press them in order.
Goes to show there's just not a lot of margin of error in this race. It's a very execution-based run. And we're about to get our next boss fight.
Yeah. So because that acid alkaline is quite essentially random, we're really not on RNG for our series fight. Luckily for us, the setup there's for this fight doesn't really require good or bad RNG. It does require, however, inputting your attacks fairly quickly before they actually kill you, because they hit pretty hard.
And in particular, you have to worry about their counterattack, which, aside from hurting, is quite time-consuming.
Yeah. Yeah, the way we route it, well, the way the fight's done is so that we don't get any counterattacks, because, yeah, as it was said, their counterattack actually costs the animation's really long, and then it hits like 50s or 60s, and we have like, what, 120 health, so we're really under level right now compared to what casual playthrough would be at.
You could actually walk forward, but it wouldn't do any good right now. You just get more text marks, so you just have to wait for them to finish beating him up. And once that's done, the fight begins. Looks like Ponk is going to start this 7:45, I'll call it. We'll see the difference between here.
That was very good from Punk. He got into his first cycle menu real quickly. The strat you're gonna see people do there is double tap, so basically tap A twice. Because if you mash it, there's a chance that you might actually use the attack on, the enemies you don't really want to. If you mash it, you can only cycle 2. You want to cycle 3 of them.
Right, so we're looking at about a 30-second margin between the two runners right now. Just so close.
Punk's out of trouble now. Once you kill the back row, all you need to do is just cycle in the front row. And front row only deals between 15 and 18 damage or something, so they're not as dangerous as back row, who can hit up to 40s.
Yeah, as long as you get the good start in this fight, it goes pretty smoothly. And if you're seeing this and thinking, oh, this is great, if only I could see more, we do have another race coming up today, 5 o'clock scheduled for Background Guy versus Lunchtime. That's the next matchup of the Defeat Magus tournament. There's all kinds of this going on. So stay tuned to Speed Gaming for this and other fun races going on.
Yep. Oh, we just saw Alowne's screen kind of freeze, but he did kill the back row, so he's fine. He's not gonna die. Okay, there he is. Yeah, if you check Alowne's screen right now, he actually has 0 MP. It was really important in the past fight to end with at least 8. If not, it makes this fight actually kind of impossible to get through. Unless you have a backup mid-ether.
So after a quick repair job, we'll go through the portal and see what awaits. Then it's going to take us a little while to get to another boss fight.
Yeah, this is actually my favorite segment in the run. The whole after the future through Masamune, because we get a couple of really cool glitches and then we get Ganadora Mountains, which is a really great area. The next 15-20 minutes are my favorite in the run. Oh, after Specchio. Yeah, Specchio sucks. You're saying we don't have any more boss fights, but getting magic is a boss fight on its own. That little guy can troll you.
Well, there's always the menu boss.
Mm-hmm.
The ever-present menu boss.
So here's where we get asked, you know, hey, who wants to stay behind? We don't take Robo because we don't really need... He doesn't learn magic, so just take the girls in.
Yeah, one of two characters, well, three characters in the run that's never going to learn magic.
Yep.
I always say don't do math while live on Twitch, it'll always betray you.
Can we ban Ottavino from the chat, please?
So the little froggy form of Specchio is only available through level 9 lead party characters, so that's why your casual runs you didn't get him. You got the Kiwala form.
Yeah, the most we see is usually the Kiwala, as you said.
You basically have to skip fights to be able to get here low enough for...
Yeah. I'm pretty sure Chrono's level 8 right now, so that's how close he is from level 9, and we skipped like almost every single skippable fight.
You could throw in the Guardian we didn't fight, and Yakura, and still be able to do it at 9. Yes, they do that in glitchless run as well.
Now that we got past that dreadful frog, we can actually continue with the run.
Oh, we forgot to invite everyone to feel free to walk around their room 3 times thinking magic. So, you're still welcome to do it if you'd like.
I think they were actually thinking it. That's why they actually didn't mess up. This little trick on Punk streams called Cake Dash. So you eat the cake, change your team, and you can move and skip these text boxes. There's a little bit of time. It looks really cool.
All those little bit of times add up.
Mm-hmm. This is a little bit of an RNG part, so if Marl gets a crit, you save 5 seconds, so Marl didn't get a crit there. Punk isn't saving 5 seconds. It's basically RNG because we're not on RNG after Acid Alkaline in our series. We don't know exactly where we're at.
Then your conditions for being able to learn a dual tech are have the single techs required and then win a battle with the 2 people who are learning it. So we have an antipode there. It's the first time that both Luca and Marl had fire and ice.
Alowne actually missed the Cake Dash in a way I had never seen it before. That was really weird. But yeah, he had to go through all the text. And this cave, instead of Magic Cave, should be renamed to Menu Trick Cave. We just run away from their battles. Except the first one. The first one is, I'm pretty sure it's obligatory. And it triggers on the first frame you enter, so yeah. There's no skipping that one.
Well, I guess they wanted to be sure you lose. You would learn Antipode if you didn't fight Specchio.
Yeah. Or at least some dual tech. If you had Robo, maybe. Yeah, so Punk's putting Robo in his team here. You can do it during that fade out, or you can do it during the fade out coming up here. It's your choice. This is basically, we're gonna do Hecarim skip. Hecarim skip, as the name says, skips the Hecarim bus. We can actually get the fade out glitch again. and then stand on top of the save point to get the save anywhere. Now we're gonna save past the Hekron boss trigger. Actually a little bit harder, and by a little bit I mean a lot harder than the Akron. But it's not too bad. Punk's taking the easy stride, which is going into the corner, reloading, and then going for it. This actually loses a little bit of time, but it gives you 3 frames to save.
Ooh, Alowne picked up the bat fight, unfortunately. So that's a little bit of a loss.
Punk gets it second try.
I think we've actually seen Alowne be a little bit better at the save fade out.
Yeah.
So that's a chance to make up some time here. And goodbye, Hekron. What a battle.
Punk actually made a mistake, which is saving over his save file. If he would have missed that save, he would have saved early and triggered the fight. He would have to fight Hekron. There's no other way. So you don't want to save over your save file you do before. If you do, it happened to me last tournament. It cost me the race. I did it in Sombra and I had to go all the way back to Hekron. So save overs, you should never do them while doing the boss skips.
So Alowne now trying to get the Hekron skip. Or I should say going for Hekron skip.
He got it. Nice. Now Punk's going to go for this cool trick. I hope he's called End of Time Save Anywhere. Basically, you talk to this guy, grab his text, close and open, but hold the A button down. If you have the A button down, you can actually trigger the pillars. So you trigger the pillar with the text box, get into a really precise position, and then pause buffer to a certain frame. That's not a good frame. That's a good frame, I think. No, it wasn't. Okay, he missed. He's gonna go for it again. He has to pause buffer on a good frame. I thought the in-throws was good, but might be wrong. I don't have the notes with me. That's not a good frame. That's a good frame. So that's a good frame. He presses start and A on the same frame. He hears the beep. That means he can change his body. Changing his body lets him move while his body is getting teleported. And since he gets teleported while standing on the save point, it has the same effect as doing the fade out glitch to get the save anywhere glitch. So he has save anywhere glitch right now. If you're wondering why do they keep redoing the save anywhere glitch, well, every time you enter an area with a save point, it actually gets deleted. So you have to get it again in order for it to still be active.
Okay, bird skip one more time.
Yep. Let's see if Alowne gets it. She's not a good frame. TR, that's not a good frame. That's not a good frame. That was a good frame? Oh, it was a good frame, okay. I'm sorry. And he stands on top of the save point and gets the save anywhere as well.
Got it a little bit faster.
Yeah. Yeah, he only had to do it once. And yep, he got it. He's just making sure he got it there. And that's really important because we need to skip somewhere. And if you don't get it in the end of time, you have to go to Cathedral. That's costs like 30 seconds to go there. So you wanna try and get it at end of time.
As for the chef, make sure you see the pipe down box, because if you leave that room too early, you're gonna have to sit through everything again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm being corrected. We use it for somewhere skip and Tata skip. Somewhere skip works in a similar manner as Hekron does. However, for somewhere we need to employ a technique which we call release B, which is basically walk for a certain number of frames. For the first part of the skip, we want to actually release B for 7 to 9 frames. So we want to be running and then walk for 7 to 9 frames so we can actually save past the trigger. And I think Punk got it first try there. I mean, the first one wasn't good, but the second one he did after he buffered it was definitely good. And then this one's really easy, just a release B of 1 to 3 frames, so he saved over his same file. Okay, He's confident, I guess. He actually got it, but can come back to bite you. If you failed it.
Silly old Ozzy, just standing there as we walk right by. Zombor skip comes right at the 1 hour mark.
And this is the easier Tata skip, which just basically saves near the well. You'll skip talking to Tata. Quick menu for Ponk to equip the Berserker. Let's see if Alowne gets it. Oh, he got really past the guard, but he didn't open the menu. Alowne's having a little bit more trouble on this one.
Yeah, that could be an issue of how much you've practiced one. I think with both of these runners, they spent a lot of time getting ready before the start of the tournament for it.
Yeah. This fight Ponk just did has to be really precise. Basically, you have to reload at a certain time. And when he saw, he actually hit 195 on the orc, sorry, or goblin, I think it's called. He actually needs to do a certain strat. If you hit 193, you need to do a certain different strat. Because the RNG frame we need for the massive fight is pretty tight. Alowne's having a little bit more trouble with
a lot of quick, tight movements through this mountain to avoid those encounters.
Alowne's actually getting really passed by the guard sometimes, but he's just failing to press the menu at the right time. Like that, he's just so far past the guard. That guard, that like the helmet of the guard that's actually down, is like your reference for you need to get passed by. Like there, he would have opened the menu.
Well, sometimes you're in the middle of it and just there's a mental block. You don't think of something that you know.
That's one frame too early.
So meanwhile, Ponk has gotten all the way through this mountain already. This section is really favored Ponk now.
Sadly, this skip, it can really troll you, especially for new runners. Just because if you're doing it some way, it's really precise. You actually have to release speed between 7 and 9 frames only. That's a 3-frame window you have. So there's some pretty nice setups, but it can actually be hard.
Really not a backup strat for here, is there? Because you're just not well set up to... You'd lose the time from the fights, but to have to do Zombor here would just be a really big loss.
Yeah, if you actually feel like you can do it, you can actually fade out all of the fights. So you can fade out this, fade out the next, fade out the fight, fade out Zombor. So you have to do like 5 or 6 fade outs through the bridge. And you can actually skip it that way. But that just loses so much time. Oh, that's it. That's it for a moment. And Ponk just got through.
Phase 1 down. In the first phase of that fight, you just have to do 1k damage to either Masa or Mune. Okay, got it now. Did he reset? Did not get it.
Yeah, he hasn't been able to get the second part yet. The second part is pretty tricky, actually. For the massive fight, I mean.
So this is the progression of our boss's HP. When we fought the Dragon Tank, it had 600 HP on the head. When we fought the R-Series, they had 150 HP each. There's the skip for Alowne. Comes at 104, so it was about a 4.5 minute gain there for Pong. Now that we get into Masa Immune, they had 1k HP each, and then the combined Masa Immune has 3600 HP, so pretty big jump. Equipment changes. And hopefully it'll be a smooth rest of the mountain for Alowne.
Yep.
So
the key to this... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to point out, this is something that we've seen, particularly in this tournament, the Berserker strats on Chrono, which means you can't break up the tornado energy.
Yeah. Luckily, with the way it all works, we actually don't need to. We can just ping-pong Masa back and forth, and hit him really quickly, just like that.
And there it is at 106. Sweet Falls. And this section of the game is probably not going to be Alowne's favorite after today.
Yep.
Just having a little bit of trouble getting past this area.
Okay. He gets the right RNG. Oh, he just has to get to Masa without getting into any encounter.
But it is so easy to get into an encounter here. This is very execution based.
Yeah, correct. There's actually a lot of them.
I'm not sure if I think this is the second or third in my personal rankings for execution based areas. But it's up there.
Yeah, for sure. I'll agree. Alone doing the waterfall skip. That fight is pretty hard to skip. Casually, it's almost impossible, but in a speedrun, PC. Doing well so far. Now, Ponktus is actually unequipping Chrono and Robo here in the shop. Basically, as we explained earlier in the run, unequip gives you... Oh, Alowne got Fast Bird, but I think he doesn't know what Fast Bird is. Or how it works. That would happen an 8-second time save. But oh well, basically Punk unequips Chrono and Robo to give them more magic defense and magic power. Magic attack. They do lose physical defense, but not many bosses hit you with physical in this game.
Yeah, and the magic defense is going to be particularly critical when we get to Magus himself. Do have to pick up the badge.
Yep. Now Punk talks to Tata, then he goes to the house. Oh, that was close into him getting into a fight. No news this time.
Well, then is the run even worth finishing? No, we still have chances, though.
Yeah.
4 chances.
Each runner has 4 chances. There's a 1 in 8 chance they see a new. So, in theory, we should be seeing around 1 per run. I mean, per race. Not technically 1, but...
And none of the routes really call for fighting that new. First of all, you couldn't guarantee it, but new's always a good source of tech points.
Yeah. In the randomizer, it can actually be helpful. Yeah, this game has a randomizer. It's pretty cool, and you should check it out.
I have played it. I've yet to complete a run. I really need to do that sometime.
Yep. it can be like each run can be significantly different based on which characters you have to use, because sometimes some characters are just unusable, and then which decks you get as well, etc. So it's pretty cool.
At that time, Ponktus doing the reverse bird skip, and Alowne is into this fight against Masamune. Or Masa and Mune, I guess we should say. That's what the game says.
This time we don't have the save anywhere to do the reverse bird skip, so we just run away from that fight.
It's quick.
Yeah, it's pretty quick. Reverse bird skip only saves 4 seconds over running away from the fight. Randomizer randomizes absolutely everything in this game, and I'm not gonna spoil too much, but there's some other things being worked on right now. And yeah, Drunken Recording just shared the link.
It's been impressive to see what people can do with randomizers lately. They've been around for a couple of years now, since Fred did great work with the Z1 randomizer, and people have said, what could I do with this game? And then all insanity breaks loose.
Pong just faded out there talking to Melchior, and he just did a quick save. That save's not necessary, but if the chapter changes to the rare red rock, that means you actually got the fade out correctly. Yeah, Chrono Trigger randomizer has been active for like 2 years or something. There's the link Drunken Recording shared. It's really good. You should check it out.
Is this it? It is. Alowne finishes up the Masamune
Nice.
fight. 112. So looking like it's about 5.5 minutes now between runners. Still plenty of room to make that up.
Yeah.
But just some of these little executions along the way have added up for Alowne.
A little bit too slow there. He actually got hit there, but doesn't matter. That won't change the RNG. So yeah, slash antipode to get rid of these guys. Yep, the only antipode you'll see in the run.
And then there's this. I don't really know what else to say about it. I mean, the game kind of says it all for me.
Yeah.
In any event, we get another fight.
He does the slash flame toss strat, pretty good. Actually a tad bit faster to do slash, but it's not too much, it's like half a second or something. Yeah, now we get Alowne. In this round we actually only use Alowne. So he's only in our party for like, 7 or 8 minutes at most.
Yep. We have one more boss fight that she will be involved for.
Mm-hmm. Punk actually remembers to change his team. So, ooh, he got into that fight there. Now that, he's gonna be off RNG. He's gonna have to make a reload now. Yeah, you're not supposed to get into that fight. But again, it can be actually tricky to get through that one.
There's also another Berserker there, but they're not going to pick that up. Don't need it.
Yeah, the other Berserker, it's just a little bit easier to pick it on the way out. But if you forget, it's really bad. I forgot once during a run, it's not good. You definitely need it.
So here we are in the prehistoric era, trying to find a rare artifact, so let's have a party.
Now we're just gonna party for a bit. Alowne's just getting his sword that says Valkyr. It's gonna go back to reforge it. I don't think we've seen a new yet, actually. No news so far. This race is...
It's just a terrible thing.
Mm.
We apologize for this horrible lack of news. So that's the key trigger that you have to see from Robo if he's in the third spot. When his text dialogue changes to that second message, it tells you you can do the soup battle. You just have to talk to her twice.
Yeah. Yeah, I usually just mash A there, so it triggers automatically. I have to mash A here to drink soup. Yep, soup.
That's a pretty big bowl.
Yeah.
Almost sounded like Jeff Goldblum. I don't actually know what Jeff Goldblum sounds like. I've seen him, I just can't think of any time I've ever heard his voice. Alright, so of all the things for somebody to take from us, they picked the gate key, which they had no idea what it was.
Yeah.
But now we have to get it back.
Of course we do. They really love their soup, yep. One of the things they changed between the Japanese and the US version. Soup. They took away the alcohol reference. Oh, he almost stuck to Kino there.
Question in chat about the early part of the run. Now we do the normal fair sequence. There's difference between our runners that Punk was found guilty and Alowne was found not guilty.
Yeah,
but both got thrown in prison anyways.
Yeah, you always get thrown in prison. It's only like 5-second difference. Okay, Punk's doing a reload. Pretty sure he has his notes open, and he has the... I believe Punk uses a metronome. It's a good way to know which window you need to reload on. There's also a pretty cool GIF you can follow.
Where I was going to go, there's two ways people are doing that. Is one's by metronome and one's by graphic reference.
Yeah. Well, there's actually some others less used. I myself look at my timer, and I know a couple people do the scrolling through the files. Each scrolls a certain time for them, so it's pretty nice. Anyway, you can pick whichever one you like.
Whatever lets you do it consistently is what you want to do.
Mm-hmm. Here in Tavernaler, Punk wants to get hit here. If he gets hit for 34, that means he's been doing everything perfectly.
34 on the dot. So now this one won't be as big of a spike for the boss, but we do have a couple of these unskippable encounters along the way to deal with. Of course, the Megasars, you have to give them a shocking experience before you're able to do proper damage.
Yep. Okay, he's about to give this fight and then run away from this one, and then Nisbel time. Nisbel being the easiest boss in this case.
4,200 hit points for Nisbel.
That word for menu here. Unequip Payla a little bit so she doesn't get hit by magic too hard. And use a shelter. Yeah, that sometimes happens when the save point, I don't know, stand boxes or however you want to call them. They can be pretty weird sometimes. And
Alright.
lightning them. Good one.
Here comes Nisbel.
As I said, Nisbel is pretty simple. At the start, Punk wants to actually delay his Chrono Lightning a little bit until Luca has her menu up. If you can line those two perfectly, then you'll get a little bit of faster fights. So do not match lightning here, yeah. He waits a little bit. He does the fire and the lightning at the same time. And yeah, makes this fight free basically.
It's a big difference when you're using the glitches in this, that your magic defense is so much better. If you're playing glitchless, you're going to have to do a lot more healing in this fight. Oh yeah.
Yeah, that release from lightning actually hurts quite a bit. Here we're helped by the RNG manipulation of having Ayla deal so much crit damage.
Crit damage plus the Berserker.
Yeah. Berserker gives you 150% attack damage and defense. So it's a little bit overpowered.
Nah, just right. Might as well be something in our favor as players.
Yeah, I guess so.
You could always start a new category of no Berserker if you wanted to.
Oh boy. So basically, old struts. That's Niswell for Punk.
There we go. 122 for the Niswell kill. So that was 16 minutes since the end of the Masa and Mune fight, which would put Alowne at 138 if everything else goes the same. But Alowne actually has done a couple things faster in this segment, so should close the gap a little bit more. But basically the entire Tyranno layer ahead right.
Alone going through the forest. Meanwhile, Punk is just running away from that fight. He remembers to pick up his Berserker. That's step one.
Yeah, because the other one is on Ayla, and we're not getting it back.
Mm-hmm. Kept it.
Question in chat, is Magus leader of the monsters? No. I mean, he's leader of the mystics. But that doesn't encompass all the monsters. Alright, so now we get to reforge the Mausoleum.
Gotta change your team here. Oh boy. Didn't change his team. It's gonna have a little bit of a slower cutscene now.
So you're making a good point. That might have been a question about where that is in the run. And Magus, as far as 100% run would go, I guess would be about the 1/3 mark of the game. 80% run, it wouldn't be that much. He'd be much further along than 80% run.
So you're supposed to put Marl in your party here. That actually skips Robo doing things. And you can just finish the cutscene, like, I don't know, 20 seconds quicker or something. But yeah, it's not too bad.
And there's our shiny new sword. You need sunglasses with all that sparkling. But we don't get them in this room.
Nope, we don't, sadly. Gotta get them back to G now. Alowne did mention earlier his internet was having issues. It actually went quite a bit without them having issues, so.
Yeah, just unfortunate, and hopefully we'll be able to see the progress later on.
Yep.
Should be descending the depths of the Tyro layer, and just hopefully the run is still going well, and then we'll find out it was a good result at the end.
Mm-hmm. This is why you should always, when racing, keep a local recording. In case your internet goes down, you can just finish the race and can be verified with that video. If you don't have a local recording and you said you win after your stream froze, there might be a little bit more difficulty verifying it.
Yep, but we'll just take what we have for now, and what we have is another chance at a news sighting.
Yep. No news still.
Not this time.
Yeah, I think Alowne's internet went down. He just left the IRC chat. Hopefully it wasn't the power, just the internet.
Yep, but for now we'll just worry about the race that we have. We get the flashback to Cyrus.
So if anybody wants to take a little break, there's like 6 minutes of cutscenes here. Unskippable. That Punk's gonna have to go through before we go to Magus Castle, which is the best part of the run.
What I do like for this section is that at least they gave us some cool cutscenes that we have to sit through. So we get the great journey that begins by going to the forest 2 feet away. But apparently there used to be a giant frog hanging out around it. And there he is. Apparently he wasn't a very strong giant frog. Alright, so the first confrontation that happened with Magus didn't end so well. And again, we're just gonna operate under the assumption that the race is still ongoing, and that's what we'll deal with until we have reason to do otherwise. But meanwhile, if you'd like to see more of the Defeat Magus tournament, we do have our next match scheduled for less than 2 hours from now, 5 o'clock, between Background Guy 02 and lunchtime. On the Speed Gaming family of networks. They've been great to this tournament and hosting it throughout, so Be sure to watch the schedule for more, or join us in the Defeat Magus Discord, and you can keep up to date on the schedule.
It's actually going to be on this same channel, so after this race, probably going to go down for a bit, and then it'll be the next race. No new for Punk. Oh my god.
Aw, that means we get no new for the run. But we do get to go to the mountain. And this part is 100% guaranteed. My favorite music of the game. And hey, how often do you get to cut a mountain open? The Adventures of Glenn and Cyrus. Friends for the ages. Or at least 400 years or so.
Yeah, as we said before, if the stream goes down and you happen to win, whatever reason, you get asked for a local recording. That's what. So it's really not possible to cheat even if the stream's down.
Yeah, and nobody's doing this for prizes. This is for fun for the runners. Yeah, there's no reason to do anything other than your best.
There's a massive $0 prize for the first place. Yeah, Magus Castle can actually cost a lot of time. I've seen it happen.
Yeah, there's in particular, one stairway section can be very rough. And so it's going to be very important to get the right skips there, or it can cost you a lot of time and a lot of hell.
Those SRL points. Yeah, we're doing this for the SRL points. Good point, background guy. Okay. Now we're gonna casually seek for out to destroy a mountain.
I don't know about casually. It's more like epically.
So Punk is going into the magic cave. No. Yeah, I think this is the magic. And this, basically you have here a little verification if you're on the right RNG. You get hit for 19 on Chrono or Robo. That means you're good to go. He got a 19, so he doesn't need to reload.
We continue on, so this will be 3 bosses through here. We have to fight Flea, Flash, and Magus himself. And Ozzy is there, taking up space.
Yep.
How did that guy get through the mountain anyways? Get a nice little cutscene here of Magus's castle. Have fun storming the castle.
Let's go.
Also, if there's no dragons in the game, what did they model the sculpture after?
I do not know. I've never thought about that.
I'll see what other questions I can come up with you've never considered before. All right, so all we have to do first is walk into these rooms and not get into an extra fight.
Yep. Right now, they are not enemies, but they will turn into enemies as soon after we do the fight in the middle. Just go to both boss rooms and go back.
Yeah, all you have to do is enter the last room. You don't have to actually walk up.
I'll agree with the dragons are cool part. I like dragons.
That's reasonable.
Yeah, no dragons. I never thought about that either. This fight's pretty simple. Another way to verify your RNG is if Frog gets hit with Crimson Rain for 45 or 46. So he gets 46, it's fine.
Of course, you get the infamous post about there being 100 monsters in this castle, and we want to see as few of them as possible.
Mm-hmm.
We finally learned X-Strike. You know, that thing you'd normally learn an hour ago.
Yep.
Berserker to Glen.
Perfect. Yeah, Surge a jerk. I agree. Background guy, I agree.
And we have the Magician Flea, we presume.
Yeah. 188. Perfect. The Flea fight is one of the most technical fights in any speedrun ever. All you have to do is put your controller down and pick it up for a couple inputs at the end.
Just don't forget to stay hydrated. That's a very important part of the run.
Yeah.
Flea actually has 4,100 hit points. So this is the first time we have a boss go down in hit points from the last one we fought.
Punk's playing one-handed. So basically what happens here is Flea and Frog have the same speed, so the enemies also have their little action bar triggers, just like ours. So they're like basically filling up at the same time, and Frog's taking priority. So Flea just stays in her state. It looks like she's laughing at us, but she's not doing anything. So yeah.
Laughing at RNG.
Mm-hmm. And if you're running Magus RTA, this is the biggest bathroom break you'll get. It's actually a minute 5 seconds, I think, before you have to do anything.
So if Alowne is still on pace, Nizbol should have just gone down recently. Just to kind of contrast where the run is probably at. And again, we're hopeful that Alowne will be able to rejoin us on stream soon, but for now, we'll just enjoy the run as Ponk works to finish this out.
And then you finish it off with a couple slash and a couple attacks. 80 at the end, perfect.
That's 39 defeat of Slash.
Yeah. Flea would actually be the hardest boss in the speedrun if it didn't have that manip. She just throws you all kinds of status stuff that we actually don't see from any bosses like Poison and Chaos and etc. It's actually a really hard boss. Luckily we can just stun her like that.
So instead, we'll have the big showdown with Slash. Eventually. One of these days. After we go through this fight.
Yeah, Alone mentioned to us that his internet was pretty bad before the race. There's actually a storm where he is, so probably the internet went down.
It's just an unfortunate fact of life, and so we'll just follow this through as best we can.
Now the slash fight. So as you probably know, RNG manipulation plays a pretty big part in everything we do. But slash fight's just so long. It's pretty easy if you mess something up just to follow the script you have.
Now, the last one of these I did, which was actually Alowne's first race against Jackpot, he actually had to go with some backup strats here. Did it quite successfully.
Yeah, luckily for Slash, if you play it careful, you can still beat him with no problem.
So phase 1 of Slash is 3,200 hit points to be dealt. And throughout all of it, Glenn will just be chipping away with that Berserker.
The Berserker is super cool. Frog's gonna be hitting almost 200 with normal hits. 400 with crits, while the rest are hitting barely 100s.
And that takes care of phase 1.
Seems to be a little bit lost on the script. Still fine. Atomic Frog there, yep.
So, not that I'm any kind of expert on this, but Slash's positioning will tell you a lot about what he's going to do.
Yeah. Yeah, once he moves over to the left side, it means it's getting serious. When he's on the right side, he'll just do pretty weak attacks. Mostly Slash attacks. Since Slash is a lightning technique, and we have the unequipped glitch, it deals, as you see, like 9-10 damage, which is nothing. Yeah, 9.
Yeah, at the normal defense, easily over 100 damage. Speed, over 100 damage. 180. Good thing we got mid-tonics. This second phase has 5,200 HP, so the most of any boss we've seen so far. Also, if you combined them between the two phases, it'd be over 8,000 HP, which would actually make Slash the highest HP boss of this run. Yes, indeed.
In the speedrun route, once you see the yes indeed, he's autopilot mode, you don't need to touch anything.
And a 144 kill of Slash.
I need to say this, but if Punk plays this well enough, he'll get sub 2. He's on sub 2 pace.
I do think that would be a PB if he pulls it off. Of course, if you just commentators cursed, then I'm not standing in between you and Punk after this race.
I had to say it. I think he's on pretty much the exact same pace he was last race. The last race he did had a couple unfortunate incidents in the castle. The castle was pretty hard.
Here's where Magus's castle starts to get its most interesting. You have the Hall of Unskippable Fights. You're going to get them every time. Can't avoid them. We get 2 outside the castle stairways, which are very tricky for their skips. And along the way, we also get the Hall of Completely Skippables, where you don't even know there's a fight there, basically.
Yep. This is pretty annoying, but at least we can skip them, so I guess we can't complain too much.
Yeah, in this first hallway, they're all runnable. So if Alowne is still on pace, should actually be in Magus's castle already.
Yeah.
Got to avoid these scythes or whatever you want to call them. They will deal damage. They are very avoidable.
Now the first staircase room, this one is pretty easy, really. The only thing that can actually trigger the fight is that... Oh my god. I'm sorry, I swear I don't do it on purpose. You can,
so
you cannot run
what you
away
were
from
about to say is it's only the rolling that'll trigger it, so you have to stand still when it's gonna go past you.
Yep.
Apparently Punk just pushed that a frame too far.
Mm-hmm. That's what they did.
And with the juggler, I do believe that makes the fight unrunnable.
Yeah.
Chad, somebody out there has to have the caster's curse emote.
I didn't mean it. I was about to link it out. The second stairs are the hard ones. I'm sorry.
Alright, down goes the juggler.
If you wait like you did there, you won't trigger.
He plays that one extra cautious, learned his lesson from the last one.
Yeah.
Alright, gotta avoid the pitfalls. Alright, so there's a save point down here, which I don't think he'll take advantage of particularly. And then you have to find the fake save point to warp back to the previous floor.
Yeah. It's actually already pre-decided. So I don't really have the image right now. But there's an image, like, depending on which hole you fall down, which is the exit. So if you fall in the exact same hole every time, the exit will always be the same.
So if you're thinking you'd like to pick this up, there is actually a practice round to help you learn. And it'll reset you to the start of the room, basically, so that you can learn to avoid the pitfalls.
Yeah. Okay, now this is a hard room. Oh, he should... Oh, he still got through it, okay. And he got into a fight. So that first outlaw he actually went through. He actually should have, in my opinion, resetted the room because he was a little bit too late. He actually had enough time there.
Yeah, you're running a little bit ahead of me, but it's a much tighter gap with those outlaws. But he started walking just a little bit too soon and didn't let the Rolly Bomber get away.
this one wasn't me.
Nope, you didn't even have time to start saying anything.
Yeah,
But we
I
all
was
know
still-
you were thinking it.
Oh, I was actually thinking it, but yeah. I was about to talk about the first bird. Yeah, you want to kill the juggler first. You don't want to attack the outlaw, because he'll always counter.
There's something you definitely want to avoid. There's a lot of them in this game that are quite unpleasant and try to teach you quickly to do things in the proper order.
Also, I don't think Punk knows slash counts as lightning. There's really no reason to be using normal lightning. Maybe he knows, he just forget.
Well, I mean, at this point, you're probably using it. Well, you'd almost have to use the shelter anyways to recover the magic points you spend on these.
Yeah.
This outlaw, if you try and go straight forward, you're not going to get the skip. So he does the turnaround and uses the other party members to force the outlaw out of bounds. Excellent skip on the last two ones there.
Yeah.
And then these, of course, unavoidable.
Since he's of RNG, oh my god, that's lucky. Double crit. Since he's of RNG, he has to do his fights normally.
Nice damage from the slash.
Yeah, you always want to use slash against the groupies. They have like negative 10 million magic defense.
Give or take a little.
Yeah. Just a little.
Gonna go ahead and heal in the hallway here. I like that. Don't get yourself out of whack because some things have already gone wrong in the run.
Yeah, for whatever reason, you know, the first fight is unavoidable. The last fight's unavoidable. But the middle fight, you can run away from it, so... Thank you, developers.
It was nice of them. Give us a break in the middle. Damage on the flame toss.
Nope.
Magic defense is going to be on.
Yeah, he was supposed to do a normal attack with Chrono on the bottom right one. He just messed a little bit up the order there.
Alex strike would kill the other one. Oh! Okay. Yeah, that one was still on physical defense from the X strike. There we go.
Yeah, at this point we have to assume Alowne's still running. We don't know where he is though.
Yep. Based on pace, should be finishing Flea, going to slash thereabouts from the pace we saw earlier.
I mean, if he had a clean castle, it might be closer. But again, it's all speculation.
Yeah. So this is the hall of completely avoidables. All we gotta do is stick to the side and, you know, see all those fights. And then here's Ozzy, who's just taking up space. Because we're not really fighting Ozzy, we're fighting the levers. Or whatever you want to call them. You can call that one Bob, you can call the other one George. Really, you can call them anything you want to. Bye, Ozzy. We'll never see you again. Unless it's 100% run.
Mm-hmm. Put Robo there. He's gonna shelter since he got into a few battles and
yeah, got a couple extra battles and you just don't want to take any unnecessary chances. Now,
reload.
All you have to do at this point is don't go batty. Because there's going to be a lot of bats here, and you don't want to fight them.
That reload Punk just did is one of the hardest ones in the game. It's really tight. It's 2.2 to 2.4 seconds. It's only a 0.2 second window. However, with metronome or the GIF, it becomes basically trivial.
And here we go. Let's get some hype, chat. Magus is on screen.
Wait, no, Magus? Where?
Blat will also be accepted as hype, appropriate for this moment. So if we were at GDQ, we might ask for quiet time for this, but we're not at GDQ, so make as much noise as you want, chat.
Yeah, this fight can be a little bit tricky, especially at the end, but there's literally, I think, zero risk of dying, just risk of losing a little bit of time.
Barrier change to shadow, so the mechanics of this fight pretty well known. You hit with Moss Immune in between barrier changes, and it lowers the magic defense so that you can get full damage on these.
Toaster.
Not even a blender?
Toaster. Got nothing to say to that.
The shadow barrier continues. So Magus with over 6,000 hit points here. And of course, 2 phases. We're in phase 1 with the barrier changes.
Yep.
And the good news is Magus made considerably easier with the boosted magic defense.
Good lightning.
$66 whole damage on that crit. And phase 2. So he's still on lightning. Punk uses the slash for the lightning elements, and then we'll see the message Magus risks casting a spell. And the countdown is on to dark matter.
And at this point, no sub 2. Pretty close though.
No, I think this is a run Punk will be pretty happy with. There's little improvements everybody's going to want to make after you do one of these runs. I'm sure you had little things you wanted to change after your last run.
Yeah, had a pretty bad castle as well.
But it got started on a good note. He got the guilty verdict all the way back at around 15 minutes. So
Yeah, after the rough start for both, they both picked up the pace quite a bit. And then Alowne unfortunately had a lot more trouble with Sombor. That was basically what put him on like 5 minutes behind until his stream dropped down.
yeah, the Zombor fight in particular was one where we saw a big differential. Punk was able to get the skip much faster.
Yeah. At this point, if you've lost the route, like the script for Magus, you're better off just mashing your attack stand waiting for inputs. Just hold X and mash slash. Couple more attacks and he should be done.
Yeah, getting close.
Yeah, there we go. And then for this category, timing doesn't end until Magus kneels. So you have to wait until Magus kneels and time.
And that is an official time 2 hours, 1 minute, 58 seconds. And see if Punk will join us for a couple words. Let's see some good GGs, chat.
How is Pong gonna join us? He's gonna be mad at me. He just said, "Dot comment, I blame Jerry." Hey,
Well,
Pong.
I told you.
I
I'm not
absolutely
saying-
mean that. Yo,
Oh, Punk, you didn't quite get the sub 2 hour, but a good run.
thank you.
Was that a PB?
I think my last race was slightly better, but it's still good for my third run, I think. I'm at least satisfied, partially. Up until Magus Castle, then, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, that was actually, aside from the start, it was a little bit of a rough start, but you seem to pick up the pace pretty nicely up until, yeah, the castle basically, after Slash.
Well, you got started on a nice note with the guilty verdict.
Yeah, that was probably the best part about this run. I don't know. I had a little bit of trouble with this run. I had a few spots where I really messed up the RNG. Thankfully, backup loads exist, but yeah, I don't know. It was nice. Pretty sure this is the first race I ever won too, so that's pretty cool. Though kind of sad that with the internet issues.
Yeah. We don't quite know what all happened there, but we know that you put on a good one here today, and potentially in your futures either Tsunami or Kaioseka. So if there was one thing you could improve from this run, what would you want to change?
Jerry not cursing my Magus Castle.
Fair enough.
No, but seriously, I think my Magus Castle definitely needs the most improvement out of this entire run. Other than that, I don't know. I'm really enjoying this game. Yeah. Or just playing patiently, I guess. Could have avoided a lot of problems there. At least I remember this time that if you fall into the top right hole right before Aussie, you need to go to the right for the warp out. That was something I learned from last race. That was a nice thing.
Oh yeah, you fell rust. Oh, did you fall in the exact same spot?
Yes, exact same spot, exact same thing. But yeah, thanks a lot for the commentary. I had it running on the side way while the run was still going good, so thanks a lot for that.
Well, thank you very much for the show. Any other final thoughts?
No, looking forward to more races.
Before we hand this back over to Speed Gaming, I'll promo it once again that we've got our next match scheduled for 5 o'clock, so 50 minutes and change from now between Background Guy 02 and lunchtime here on the Speed Gaming family of channels if you're not already following them. Why in the world aren't you? Fix that right now. Give them all a follow. Do it. No cookies until you follow Speed Gaming. Anyways, Jerry, it's been fun.
Yep, same. Likewise, it's been a lot of fun commentating this race with you.
Thank you, Speed Gaming, for all the help, and hope everybody has a great rest of your day.
Thanks. See ya.